Hey Zooper, Devin again. My last video. I know it's been kind of long. If you don't want to watch them all, I'm sorry. You can probably just watch this one. This is probably the most informational one that I'll be giving out. So anyway, so after the revenge twist, a housemate was coming back in the house, and some people I was nervous with. I was hoping it would be Jace, and guess what? It turned out to be Jace because we were allies. He went home, unfortunately, at the duos twist, and he came back and he was safe from being nominated. What was good about this was because I knew that Jace wouldn't nominate me. He even told others that he didn't want to nominate me. So the set that I did was Souffle Violet, and the set that others did was Jake Calibi. It ended up being a tie, and the only people safe were me, Jason, Zach. Once again, I'm okay with this because I think it was 4 nominations for everybody. I knew the possibility was out there. Instead of it just being 5-3 Souffle Violet, it could be 4-4 Jake Calibi. Out of these 4, I'm completely okay with any of them going home. Because at this point in the game, you got to get the big people out. That's how I feel. So that's how I used that to my advantage, was even if he didn't go along and he did Jake Calibi, because at this point me and Jake and Calibi were on the same page again, that a 4-way tie is okay. He told me, and I was like, that's fine, I'm okay with that. I'm not on the block. So thank you, Jace, for working with me on this one. It obviously benefited my game. So thank you very much. The crazy thing that happened this day was everybody expected Jake to go home. He did not. Violet went home, and it was a surprise to everybody remaining in the house. And I mean everybody. Because even Jake, he was like, what? How are we gonna, what's going on? So it somewhat messed up the nominations for the next day, but here's how it didn't. On this day, I nominated Souffle Calibi. There was supposed to be the other 4 in the house that were going to do it as well. However, Jake, Souffle, and Calibi messaged me and said, hey, we're going to do Violet Jace today. Why I was not comfortable with changing to that was because I knew that I was the alternate to those 3. So if I change to Jace Violet, and for some crazy reason Violet goes home, I'm on the block with Jace by myself. Not something that I wanted. So I had to weigh the pros and cons. Hope Violet doesn't go home and nominate them, and that way it's just 2 people on the block, Jace and Violet. Or I keep my noms with Souffle Calibi, and I get 3 other people on the block with me. Which is what ended up happening. The nominations were Souffle Calibi, Jason, myself. Also this day, Zach had to unfortunately drop out of the game for some family. I'm really sorry. I hope everything's going okay. But like I said, I would rather take these 3 people up with me instead of be up there by myself. So I know people say I didn't strategize, but yet obviously I did. I hope you trusted me. I always had a plan. Day 13. So, or the last day. So my set was Jake Calibi, as was Souffle's. We decided to work together finally, which we hadn't the whole game. So we decided that this was what was best. And then Jace went MIA, but he was nominating Souffle and Calibi. Now, as I said, I was doing Jake Calibi, and Jake came to me and said, oh, okay, I'll do Souffle Calibi. But I already know that those 2 were working together from the beginning due to some of the conversations I've had with Jake throughout the time. Not necessarily Calibi, but Jake kind of led on that, hey, whatever I do, Calibi will do. He'll be on board with it. Makes me feel like one of them was following the other. That's just my opinion. But anyway, I knew more than likely that if I did Souffle in Calibi, that I'd be on the block today. So I did Jake Calibi, which kept Calibi and Souffle on the block. Because I kind of wanted Jake on the block. He didn't go. Anyway, that's it. So that's my strategy. These are my strategy. This is my strategy up to this point. I wanted to keep a target off my back, number one. Didn't want to make a final 2 because when you make a final 2 or final 3 with somebody, I somewhat touched on this yesterday, you keep yourself in a bubble. Your options are limited a little bit, and it makes the game harder to play. I did this before, it failed, I got 4th place, as I started these videos out with. I never did that with anybody. I always made sure that I was in a safe position when I was in my control. I feel there was only really one day where I was in my control not to go on the block. And I think that was day 8, where I got 5 nominations from the cast. Otherwise, I was nominated by a bunch of twists. The duos, the revenge, the one where Violet went home. Nobody expected that. So I was nominated a couple times, but also my other 2 nominations were from twists, which we all have to deal with and manage and navigate. So, as I said, I didn't want to designate a final 2 with anybody because I don't want to be kept prisoner to that person and say, hey, I have to keep this person safe too, along with myself. It's fair game for everybody for me. If I had to nominate you, I nominated you. I don't think that's a bad gameplay. It worked for me. Always had to fight to keep people thought I was this huge popularity threat, but yet they wouldn't put me on the block. So I don't get why the whole cast, the people leaving, would say Devin's a huge popularity threat. Devin's a huge popularity threat. Look at his percentages: 9%, 19%, 11%, and but yet I was still able to keep myself off the block, which is the goal of the game. Don't go up on the block to possibly be evicted. Do that as least as possible. If you are not keeping yourself off the block, you're not playing an effective game. All you're doing is you're relying on other people for your game to survive, which is somewhat part of the game too. The public part of the game is huge. Now, if we were a bunch of people that didn't know anybody before this game started, who's playing the best game? Based on what has happened, the percentage of evictions, the number of times being nominated, or nominated in a row all the way to the end for 2 other players up in the final 4. If you are going on the block constantly, your actual game and how hard you are trying isn't working. Something didn't work. You're not being effective. But that's my take on it. Everybody else has their opinions. So, to end this, I feel that I deserve this win in ZBB. I hope I've laid out my strategy, what I had to do to stay safe, what I had to do to keep myself off the block, and what I had to do to eliminate others. ZBB has been an amazing experience. I love my finalists, and I feel that I most deserve out of these 3, based on the game I had to play, to win this whole competition. I really hope you can pull through for me, Super. I feel that you have always had my back, and I think you'll have my back again this time. I love you guys. I've said that through this whole thing. It's now over. It's not going to change. I've loved everybody I played the game with, and I really, really hope that you can seal the deal for me. Thank you guys, and have an awesome day. Over and out. White chocolate.